I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does without me lifting a finger, so I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll look at your returns from the last 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed for free.
I could get money back from last year?
You could. We'll find any mistakes.
Could have really used that 2 years ago when I dated that mistake for 5 months.
Don't leave money on the table. Switch to H&R Block and get a free Second Look review. Second Look is included at no additional cost with the purchase of tax preparation. Results vary. All tax situations are different. Fees apply if you have us file an amended return.
This is Optimal Living Daily, 7 Common Causes and Proven Cures for Procrastination by Angel Chernoff of marcandangel.com. And I'm Justin Malik. Welcome back to Optimal Living Daily, or the OLD podcast, where I read to you from some of the best articles I can find and get permission from, covering personal development or self-help, minimalism, productivity, and more. So with that, let's get right to it and continue optimizing your life. 7 Common Causes and Proven Cures for Procrastination by Angel Chernoff of marcandangel.com. Do you put off doing things that would bring you closer to your desired goals? I know I do. But why are we so foolish? It has something to do with how our daily responsibilities overwhelm us. In the midst of all the important things we know we need to do, we somehow convince ourselves that none of these things need to be done right now. In other words, we decide that some peace and relaxation in the short term is what's most important. So we take another break, read another blog post, watch another TV show, and just kick back and relax. Man, life is blissfully dandy for a little while. But then suddenly, the inevitable deadline has arrived. It's panic time. So here are 7 common causes and proven cures for procrastination. I'm hoping these tips help you avoid that insane moment of panic. Number 1, fear of the outcome. Sometimes we're afraid we'll fail. Sometimes we're subconsciously afraid we'll succeed, and then we'd have to deal with all the disruption or growth and change that follows success. And other times it's our fear of rejection or simply our fear of looking like a fool. The best way I've found to defeat fear is to stare it down. Connect to your fear, feel it in your body, realize it, and steadily address it. Greet it by name if you have to. Welcome, fear. If you're conscious of it, soon it becomes shy, hangs its head, and mooches off, scraping one shoe on the ground. Number 2, helplessness in the face of complexity. We look at a task at hand and feel intensely unresourceful. It may remind us of something we had to do when we were younger, before we had the skills to conquer it, even though that's no longer the case. Or it may actually be a daunting task at our current skill level. Either way, the task seems far too complex, so we try to avoid it. This time, the solution is to break it down. Take that complex task and break it down to its bare essential components, and then tackle each one of those components one at a time. Sometimes it's also helpful to recall one of your previous successes with conquering a complex task, just to get yourself in a positive mindset. Think of a time you were really on top of things, achieving great results when you were in the zone. Close your eyes and place yourself in that memory with all your senses. Number 3, rebellion and laziness. We resent the task in front of us. We feel imposed upon. I have to do this, we think to ourselves, but I don't have to do it now. Rebellion is about control. We assert our control by choosing when or whether to do the task. A friend of mine whose homeschooled son is very rebellious came up with a clever hack. She said, "We're going to do what kids who are in school do. You're going to sit and do schoolwork for 8 hours a day." Her son rebelled naturally. When the rebellion was in full effect, my friend offered an alternative. Or we could do this homeschool style. If you finish early, we can go somewhere fun. and her son worked more productively than ever. So when you notice yourself feeling rebellious and lazy about a task, think of a way to reward yourself for getting it done now. Also, remind yourself of the consequences of not doing it. Number 4, lack of motivation. I procrastinate doing my tax return. It's an administrative task and I don't like it. But it helps when I think about it this way. I'm due a refund this year. When I concentrate on the amount of money I get back versus the time it takes to do my taxes, it's an excellent hourly rate, and it motivates me to focus on getting it done. That by itself wasn't quite concrete enough though, so I promised myself a reward. Out of the refund, I'd buy myself a kayak, something I'd been thinking about for a while to help me get back in shape. The basic principle is reframing. If you know the job has to be done but it's not emotionally important to you, find a way to make it important. If I was going to be paying a penalty fee for turning my taxes in late, I could set aside the equivalent amount of the penalty for a reward, for example. What are you going to get by doing this that's important enough to motivate you to do it now? Number 5, lack of focus and fatigue. Distractions are everywhere. You must learn to ignore them. Minimize distractions by secluding yourself. Disconnect the internet and power off your cell phone if you have to. Check email and voicemail at set intervals instead of randomly every few minutes. Find a quiet space where you can concentrate on the task at hand, and only take breaks as a reward for accomplishing smaller subtasks. Also, it's hard to focus when you're fatigued, so get enough sleep, eat healthy, and exercise regularly. Number 6, not knowing where or how to start. Or maybe the task just looms in front of you as a big block, like a building with no doors. You walk around its perimeter and you don't immediately see a way in. How do you get in? Where do you begin? You can't figure it out, so you set the task aside. I'm creating a course on procrastination. It started out as one of those buildings with no doors. How do I even start designing a course like that, I thought. Well, I wrote down a few reasons why people procrastinate, the starting point. I thought about reasons why you'd want to stop, the end point or goal. Once something has a beginning and an end, it's a lot easier to start seeing the middle. And usually you can work from both ends until you meet in the middle. Each of those reasons is a topic, and each of those topics has a start and an end, and so on and so forth. So don't give up. Uncover the starting and ending points and start filling in the blanks one at a time. And number 7, perfectionism. One of the best bits of advice ever about perfectionism comes from Melody Beattie's book, Codependent No More. It just doesn't matter, she says. It just doesn't matter. But that's hard advice to put into practice sometimes. I've often put off implementing ideas by using the excuse that I'm not yet prepared to do the idea justice. Some part of me thinks I'll end up wasting the idea by implementing it poorly at my current level of skill. But guess what? My current level of skill isn't going to increase unless I practice. And I can't practice until I implement. And that means I have to implement with my current level of skill, make mistakes, learn from them, and press on. So in reality, not implementing that idea right now is the only true way to waste it. And guess what else? There are plenty of additional ideas and variations I haven't thought of yet, and most of them won't come to me until I've started implementing and making mistakes. It's impossible to steer a parked car. Conclusion. By taking the time and initiative to understand your own reasons for procrastinating and devoting a little energy to take the necessary steps to move forward, you can beat procrastination. We all can. In fact, simply writing this article was a testament to this. I kept procrastinating on writing it because I lacked focus. So I locked myself in my den, eliminated all distractions, kept the end in mind, and started writing. And as usual, starting was the hardest part. Now, I'm done. You just listened to the post titled 7 Common Causes and Proven Cures for Procrastination by Angel Chernoff of marcandangel.com. And I'll be right back with my commentary. Looking for a snack that works as hard as you do? Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Pistachios are known for their protein power, fiber, and better for you unsaturated fats for a combination that may help keep you feeling fuller longer. Plus, Wonderful Pistachios is a complete protein, providing all 9 essential amino acids. Super satisfying cracking open the shell, but their no shells varieties give you all that nutritious goodness without slowing you down. They're perfect for those busy days when you need a quick protein boost. With delicious options like sweet chili and honey roasted, there's a flavor for every craving. And their newest flavor, unsalted no shells, holds the salt, but definitely not the flavor. Whether you're powering through your day or unwinding in the evening, Wonderful Pistachios is your perfect snacking companion. Get snackin' and get crackin' with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
We're so done with New Year, New You. This year, it's more you on Bumble. More of you shamelessly sending playlists, especially that one filled with show tunes. More of you finding Geminis because you know you always like them. More of you dating with intention because you know what you want. And you know what? We love that for you. Someone else will too. Be more you this year and find them on Bumble.
Thank you to Angel. I'm sure we've dealt with every single one of these procrastination causes at different times. When I first started this podcast, perfectionism was my biggest hurdle. I'd spend hours editing out every tiny imperfection instead of just getting episodes published. That was just for one show. And it's definitely true when she talks about breaking down complex tasks. Over on Optimal Finance Daily, we often talk about how people procrastinate on money goals because they seem overwhelming. But when you break them down, like I've done with tracking my finances since 2010, suddenly they become manageable. And I like the tip about secluding yourself and eliminating distractions because that's definitely worked in my own life. I found that having a dedicated recording space with no distractions helps me stay focused and actually get things done instead of putting them off. I try to put my phone a bit further away when I'm working on the computer too. The fewer the distractions, the better. But here's what I think is key. Instead of waiting for motivation to show up, sometimes we just need to start. Like Angel said about writing this article, starting was the hardest part. But once we begin, momentum often takes over. So maybe today we can pick one thing we've been putting off and just take that first small step. Let me know what you're able to accomplish. Thank you to Angel for this one. Thank you for being here every day. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.